Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Cut Flower Garden. However, we are working in my new border area and we are doing a final push in reclaiming this space. And I'm very excited to bring you on. In honor of such a lovely day in the garden, I am sporting a new pair of Duluth overalls. I'm very, very excited about these. I am cultivating a little collection that I will be showcasing on the channel, full overall review, because you all know I love an overall. I want to jump into it today. However, I want to give you a little backstory. When I was first starting this cut flower garden, I was ordering masses and masses of seeds. And one of the first seeds that I wanted to include in this garden was something that would bring me into fall. So right around August, it is super hot and I start craving fall. I start craving the colors, the cool temperatures. I mean, do I have any other fall lovers out there? Because, oh, autumn, it's glorious. And so with that, I knew I wanted my cut flower season to last me through my first frost date. And with that, I thought, you know, my taste and my aesthetic is going to be changing around August and September, and I want something to accompany that taste. So I brought in Rudbeckia. Now, Rudbeckia, if you have never worked with it before, is a fantastic and really, really diverse flower perennial range, right? We often think of Rudbeckia as black-eyed Susan, big yellow flower, dark center. However, there are about a million different varieties. Well, not a million, but you get some range. So there's the standard Rudbeckia that comes up, big disc of a flower. Then you've got the trilobas, which you've heard me mention on this channel before. I am currently trialing one called Prairie Glow. And I have also grown the straight Rudbeckia triloba, which is just like, it's ephemeral. It's like a twinkly bit. Like you put it in an arrangement and it adds like a little sparkly sensation. And I've loved that variety in my garden, and some of it's self-seeded, and I might have killed it when I was weeding, so I might have to replant, but not a big deal. But next up, you have Rudbeckias that come in a very wide range of colors. You have the Sahara mix. You have Cherokee Sunset mix. You also have one called Cherry Brandy. So Cherry Brandy is actually one that I'd like to add to my collection this year. And Cherokee Sunset, as well as the Sahara blends, have also been on my radar. Well, I was at Fred Meyer, as one does. And in July, by the way, how are we loving this like supermodel breeze here going on? But in July, in a lot of garden centers, especially ones that are attached to like more of like a Fred Meyer, a Kroger, or something like that, they don't get a lot of attention. However, they are still bringing in treasures to entice buyers. Well, I walked through and I spied with my little eye from a distance some super interesting Rudbeckia that piqued my interest. So I'm going to bring you in close and I am going to show you the treasures that I found. And I immediately rescued them. I brought them home and I've been babying them in my front garden for 2 weeks, and they are super top heavy in their pots. So today is the day. We're doing a weed. We're getting them in, but I want to introduce you to my new collection of Rudbeckia. These are all Cherokee Sunset, and they are wildly diverse. Wildly diverse. I can't wait to show you. Before we jump into the Rudbeckia I'm adding, I just wanted to show you this one. This is a Rudbeckia called Indian Summer, and it's one that I started from seed several years ago, and every year just comes back. And it's spread a little bit from here to there. It's not aggressive. It's easy to pull out, but I love this stuff, and I can cut on this just until the cows come home, and it keeps producing. So this is a very wonderful cut flower that is also very easy to mix into your traditional border. So here we are. These are some of the new additions that are going to be gracing my garden, and I am very, very excited. How I'm going to position these is actually in between the collection of Rudbeckia that I already have started. I want to bring you in close and just show you the massive amount of diversity. So all of these are Cherokee Sunset, but I have 5 different varieties that you're going to see here that are just wildly, wildly different. So this is probably the most traditional looking one. You've got that dark center, but then look at this deep burgundy kind of fading to a lighter golden orange. Then over here, this was the next Rudbeckia I chose. And the reason I chose it is you can kind of see it right here. Let me see if I can get another one out into the sun for you to see. Oh yeah, right here. This is almost like bordering on marigold. But what I think is so very cool is, do you see these little tips that go all the way around? They're like a deep rose with like a hint of lilac, and you can see it again here. You get this incredible double, 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 and then it's almost like a singular ray of sunshine, like all these little peaks coming out with a dusty rose. Just really, really sensational, very unusual. So this was the next variety I decided upon. Again, we've got this massive marigold shape here. And what's interesting is the petals start out like almost green in the middle. And then they open and open and open until you have this sweet little kind of like, almost, how would you even describe that? It's almost like a little heart-shaped petal on the outer edge. And so really a very unusual color. I just became obsessed with it. Now, this was probably the next one that I chose. And this one, she got knocked over multiple times. And so there's going to need to be a little recoup moment. But this one is this antique-y, beautiful yellow with hints of pink throughout. I mean, you can see it again here. It is so crazy unusual. And I was just thinking this would be such a good one to create more of like a moody arrangement. Like this is what I think of as like soft fall, like gentle fall. We're just easing into these antique tones that I feel like fall just, it's peak season for. Okay, last but not least, I wanted one that had a little bit more of that burnt orange in the middle, and here she is. Another just incredibly ruffled. You know, this kind of reminds me of those huge double zinnias that I love so much. And this one, it had a little bit more red, a little bit more of that burnt orange. Let's pull another one in here. Look at this guy. Just the profile on it is what I think is so crazy. I mean, look at that thing. It's like a huge ball. So I'm just really excited to add these to my border, and I'm going to take you over to the border to kind of show you where all of these little cuties are destined to be planted. So I want to start you at this end of this back border arc, right? You can kind of see here how I've planted this curvature of hydrangeas. I almost feel like right in front of it might be a sweet moment for a bench to look back at the cut flower garden. That is obviously to be determined. However, I just felt like this area needed some movement, and a big sweep was, for me, the answer. Okay, so as we get to the end of our arc here, it actually sweeps right into my Rudbeckia patch. Sorry for all of like the sunshade conditions. It's just really hard to shoot this right now. But you can see where I'm moving into this deep shade, or out of this deep shade rather, into a really sunny moment over here. And this is kind of one of the last areas that we have to weed in this garden bed. This is where we have just taken out tons of blackberries and all of that. But you can see right here, I've got a big old patch of that Rudbeckia, the Indian Summer. I've got another big old patch right there. And what I'm kind of thinking, and actually I've got little ones kind of started in here too. I'm thinking that I want to take all of these moody colors that I've just purchased, and I think I want to do like a big patch here, a big patch back there, and I want to do maybe a couple more patches on this side as well. Oh, do you see my Dara just going crazy? Obviously, she's happy and self-seated. I'm going to yank her out, but don't worry, she'll be back. She always is. But I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to kind of speckle all these out and then maybe end it right around here, because I'm wanting to create a larger entrance to my patio space. And so I feel like this would be the natural end to the arc as it comes back. Before I begin, I would like to introduce you to my new favorite garden tool. This is actually a garden fork that was here when we purchased the house, and I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It is 8,000 years old, and what I'm really loving right now is it's enabling me to get in, pull up kind of the root system and leave a lot of the dirt in place. And so what you're gonna see me do is pull up a lot of the grass and almost like bounce it a little bit. And because our soil is so sandy, it falls away and it is so awesome. So, oh, and I'm 86ing some of this Dara. It'll be back. It's always back. So, all right, let's ride, let's do it. Okay, friends, Rudbeckia patch weeded. Another corner down. You guys, it's getting so exciting. Okay, so you can see right here my oak leaf hydrangea. So this is where kind of like where the shade ends. But as my sun gets more overhead, this one gets hit with a little bit of sun. So I'm starting back here, and I really wanted to alternate and create a very mixed arrangement with all of these Rudbeckia. So I've got more of the double back there. I've got my classic Indian summer here. And then these things are so darn top heavy, they just keep falling over. So I have one more of the double here. This one is the one that has that really like rusty center. And then I've got another double here. And last but not least, I'm gonna put a double back there. And we're just gonna pop these in, and then I'll probably take a little bit of weight off of the top just so that they have an easier time getting established and not blowing over in this wind. Okay, friends, before I start planting, I want to show you a very exciting discovery. This is a Rudbeckia triloba. This is the one that I thought wasn't gonna come back this year. So you can see here, hopefully, how fuzzy this leaf is of the Sahara. Whereas the Rudbeckia triloba does not have as much kind of like fur on the leaf. And look at that big guy. Actually, it's two in there. I am so freaking excited. So that means I'm going to have this like twirling, lovely triloba. Gosh, I'm hoping we get blooms by the end of the year. But very exciting discovery. Just in case anyone's wondering, I need to do a reorder of Biotone, but I did have some flower tone on my hands, and so I'm just using this. Oh, and as always, organic compost. I ran out of the bulk load, so I just grabbed a couple bags. Is it straight or loppy? Oh, she's so loppy. Friends, I have one more thing to do, and it's gonna break some of your hearts momentarily, but we're gonna be okay. we need to lift some weight. So here's the scoop. When these were grown in the nursery, they were grown to be tall and beautiful and have lots of blooms, which means we got leggy stems. And because they're newly planted, do you see how this Rudbeckia, it just blows in the wind and it's got a really sturdy stem and it just always kind of comes back to its original standing position? These little babies do not have that root structure. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna take off some weight. And this is where it gets scary because I'm gonna come down, like for example, right here, I'm gonna come down at least here and make a snip, because what this is this is basically like adding a wind sail to this baby plant. And with the wind that we've had, which is like, oh my gosh, the best in the world, unless I take this off, these are really gonna struggle to get established. Now, because I know this is an incredible cut flower, I also know that this plant is going to love a little bit of a haircut. So we're gonna dip in and I'm gonna cut off almost all the flowers. Okay, my friends, I wanna show you one other thing. Because of how this was grown, we have a really wonky stem. So another bonus to me taking off this adorable bloom is that I get to take it back to a straight portion of the stem and have a much healthier branched Rudbeckia. Okay, so as I'm doing this, I'm basically chasing it down to a little spot where a leaf is coming out, and I'm doing a snip. And then before I stick it in the water, just gonna strip off the lower leaves, and in she goes. Do that one. Okay, that actually, this might be enough weight lifted where these little branches can now catch up. This is feeling so much better. This is my tallest Rudbeckia that I purchased, and it is for sure the floppiest. So I'm gonna take this bad boy down pretty low, and we're just gonna see what happens. Like this one right here. Oh, see, look, you take off all that weight. Let me move this out of the way. Look what happens. You take off all that weight, and all of a sudden, these two are standing up on their own. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, I might do this one here. How gorgeous is this watering can already? That is so fun. Ooh, I think I'm gonna take this one all the way down. I'm getting brave. And let's just take one more down. Oh, never mind. I got one laying on the ground over here. I'm actually gonna take this one way down far, and look, she already picked back up and has a new bud. Oh my gosh, this one is so wonky. Cut him. So I think my bouquet of cut flowers won't be complete unless I add some of this gorgeous Indian summer that has come back on its own, defied all circumstances. So I'm gonna cut a couple stems of this, and she's coming inside too. And you can also see like how deep I'm cutting here. Look, I mean, look at this stem. She's gorgeous. And I love that she has a little wonky petal coming out the center. So beautiful. So here we are, one of my favorite cut flowers of all time and eternity. Yes, I'm gonna plant it now, and I'm gonna enjoy it, honestly, for years to come. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave links to some of my favorite Rudbeckia varieties in the description below. And in the meantime, say hello to your garden for me. We'll see you soon.